Drop it on the random.
What up, y'all? I am your host, Vegas, host of Hip Hop Twitter. Subscribe on every podcasting platform. And this is my review roundup. Now, I know it's been a while. You know, the last time I did one was like in July. I was supposed to follow up, got a little busy, but we're back in the dungeons of rap bars to go over a number of albums. So I'm going to tell y'all like this. It's not going to be long. There's a lot of albums here. We're going to do some rapid fire. Let's get into it. Lloyd Banks, The Course of the Inevitable 2. This is his follow-up to his comeback album, if you will. The Course of the Inevitable 1. In general, dope album. Lloyd Banks doesn't disappoint, but I will say it can become a little monotonous at times because Lloyd Banks flows a certain way, and it's like that on every record. But nevertheless, still a pretty dope project from an MC that we all know can spit. Joey Badass, 2000, sort of a follow-up or sequel to his 1999 project from years back. This is one of the best albums of the year. Joey Badass is pretty slept on as an MC, but probably criminally slept on as a writer, as an artist who can write songs. This album is pretty good. It's almost like a cosign for the work he has done by his peers and the fans in general. Black Thought and Danger Mouse, Cheat Codes, one of the best of the year, a perfect pairing between Black Thought and Danger Mouse. If you only know Black Thought for one thing, and that's spitting, this is for you. The Game, Drillmatic, Heart versus Mind. Now, this is essentially a double album, right? Because it's almost like 2 hours long. It's pretty dope. Game's final album previously was trash. We all knew that. But Game tends to do this thing, right? He releases a whack project. He releases a dope project. This is pretty good, but in a lot of ways, very forgettable. And I think Game killed the buzz of his own release by taking the controversial route of rekindling old beefs and making a 10-minute diss song about Eminem that most people forgot about. Rapper Big Pooh, To Dream in Color. This, I'll tell you right now, is probably a candidate for my top 5 of the year. This is a very thoughtful, dope album. You can hear the work. It's a difference between bars and beats albums and music, right? They're both music, right? But you can hear the thoughtfulness that went into everything about this project, from song to song, to the lyrics, to the beats that were chosen, to the even the sequence in which the songs are laid on the album. It's just one of the best of the year. You should check it out. DJ Khaled, God did. This album is a DJ Khaled album. It's kind of what you expect. Honestly, for me, Major Keys was the peak of these kinds of Khaled albums. This one doesn't compare to some of his previous. It's almost forgettable. Everybody loves the Jay-Z verse. Everybody wishes the Jadakiss interlude was longer. That's the story. Black Soprano Family, Long Live DJ Shay. This, hands down to me, is way better than that first release. Way better. I felt previously the production was so-so. The performance from everyone except for Benny was subpar. But this go around, everybody stepped up their bars. I think there's a little bit more confidence around the board. And I'm not finding myself only looking forward to what Benny's verse is on this album. It's a pretty dope joint. You should check it out. Simba and DJ Drama, Results Take Time. Simba is a dude who you may not even know what he looked like. You may not have ever heard his name, but you've probably seen his freestyles being shared on Instagram, on Twitter, on social media in general. This dude could spit. He's from the West Coast. He's really, really dope. That the project itself, I think a lot of times when cats have these crazy freestyles that, when they go to Funk Flex and they do this crazy freestyle before it's time to release the album, sometimes the album doesn't live up to the energy of that freestyle, and it does a disservice to the project. This project isn't bad. It's just that I watched his freestyle. I knew he could spit from previous things, but I felt like I didn't get the same energy throughout this project. Nevertheless, if you like him, you should definitely check it out. It's not whack. And that's fact. Jack. King Crooked, Joel Ortiz, Harbor City Season 1. These two continue to show that their projects together are better than the 2 albums they did with Slaughterhouse. It just is, right? And we're not just talking bar for bar. We know all of the Slaughterhouse members could rap. I'm just talking about the things that I wanted out of a Slaughterhouse album I'm getting out of King Crooked and Joel Ortiz. The Slaughterhouse project they put out, okay, cool, whatever. They wanted to address it. But Harbor City Season 1, them basically making a number of songs based off of, King Crooked being from the West Coast, Joel Ortiz being from New York. And it's not corny and it's not predictable. It's pretty dope. It's just 2 different perspectives that they could have touched on a long time ago when they first started working on this stuff. But I think this came off as a pretty dope concept album. You should check it out. Ransom and Major, This Life Made Me EP. Ransom continues a streak of just dope records. He released a dope album earlier this year. He came back with another EP. 38 Specials on his album. Havoc is on his album, or on this EP. It's about 6 songs, 20 minutes of your life. I could really put this on repeat and be good. That's what I think about it. That's how dope it is. Shout out to Ransom. Freddie Gibbs, sold separately. Sold separately. That's what it is. Freddie Gibbs is dope. I don't think he releases a project I don't like. I'm just keeping it a buck. I never get tired of his rapid flow. I never get tired of his bars, his wittiness, his comedy, right? I don't care about hip hop beefs and who got snuffed and who chain got took. We're past that. Who cares? I'm focusing on the artist. This being his debut album, that's what this says, on a major. It, I think, is really dope. It's tough to say if it's going to hit my top 5 of the year, because I feel like there were projects that were a little bit better in the realm of Freddie Gibbs' catalog. I don't really feel like this is like the top, but it's one of his best, and it's definitely worth checking out. Denzel Curry, Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, Extended Edition. Now, the original album that was dropped, I was kind of like, it's cool. The extended version is better, because I feel like this is the production that probably should have been on the original version. And I only say that because it gives off more of a soulful, jazzy sound that to me blends well with his voice, his flow, his lyrics. And I just found myself listening to it more, to the point where I forgot I even heard the original. I had to go back and was like, well, what does that sound like? So if you haven't already, check it out. Core Mega, The Realness Part 2. I know some of y'all from the 90s, I was one of them, was like, corny is Core Mega on it. I know. But I tell you like this, The Realness, the original, changed my mind about Core Mega. The Testament cemented my thoughts about Core Mega. Cormega is just an honest dude who raps, who I liken to a hardcore version of Guru. Like, no disrespect. Guru is not necessarily considered like this crazy bar king, but you respect his lyrics and his music. And I feel like in recent years, I haven't really liked Cormega's projects, so I don't really check for them. But the Realness 2 captures the essence of the original realness without feeling like it's only treading familiar ground, which is what I was afraid of. I don't want a part 2 to every song you did on that original album. I want a couple of callbacks and I want some new stuff. And Nas's verse on here, talking about Jay-Z, God did verse. This might be verse of the year, who knows? Rome streets kiss the ring. Now, I've kind of always liked Rome Streets, but wasn't like a big follower of his music. And when he signed to Griselda, I was curious. Needless to say, when I press play on this joint, if you're looking for that Griselda's feeling, right? Maybe you feel like Conway's over here and Benny's doing his thing over here and Gunn is doing his merchandise thing and occasionally release something. But you kind of miss that Griselda sound with those lyrics. Rome Streets got it on this one. Kiss the Ring is pretty dope. You should check it out. RJ Payne, My Life is a Movie. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I'm not a, check for RJ Payne all time type cat. I'm not a big fan of the grimy way he rhymes. But when he raps like this is the pocket. RJ Payne, this is the pocket, man. Like the bring out the grimy cat every now and again, right? Just to be like, yo, I'm still me. But the way he raps on this, where he kind of uses his natural voice, I mean, the bars are there. This is more in line with what I expect from him. That to me works for me. That's dope. So if you're an RJ Payne fan, maybe you prefer the other version. But I think when he raps like this, he's one of the best out there, period. That's going to do it for our review roundup. Check out any of those albums. Most of them I thought were good. Some of them, whatever. The whack ones I just didn't even put on here because I took them off my phone. But remember, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Vegas World INC. And check out my podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. It's called Hip Hop Twitter. Subscribe today. Until next time, y'all. I'm not a critic. I'm a fan. Peace.
Drop it on the random.